All right, guys, I got a treat for you guys today. I'm sitting here at Coffee's Gym, and I got an all-star cast. We got one of the pioneers in women's weightlifting coaching, John Coffey, and I got Edward Baker. He's a national level competitor in the 105 class. Are you still a junior, Edward?
No, my last year as a junior was in 2012, so.
Okay, yeah, but so right now, Edward is you are starting the weightlifting team at UGA, University of Georgia.
Yeah, it was a little, I guess you could say it kind of happened on accident. I was mainly just trying to start a little club there, a fake club at UGA, just so I could get into another weight room or be able to drop the weights in our student weight room. But next thing you know, I have 6 girls that are interested in doing it, so here I am.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, starting a collegiate program, that's one of the problems with weightlifting in America, so you're kind of starting that, and that's great. Let's get John on the mic a little bit.
Hey.
So, John, what is you've been in this sport for a long time. When did you start coaching weightlifting, or when did you get into weightlifting?
Well, back in the old days, everybody coached each other. So I guess I've been coaching since I started lifting barbells overhead, which was probably, we used to do Olympic lifts with exercise sets when we were kids, back in the late 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Early 60s. And I finally got an Olympic set, I think, in 1964. And David Jones, a name that some people might remember, and I worked out together for many, many years. And we lived in Eastman, Georgia. It's a little town in South Georgia.
So you've always lived in Georgia. Now your gym is in Atlanta, Georgia,
Yeah.
right now. So,
Yeah.
So you've always lived here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Now, what are some of your best memories about weightlifting?
Well, we've won a few national championship team trophies, and we've been to the Worlds. I wouldn't want to try to single out one time or one incident. It's just been a lot of. I know the day Robin Bird won the World Championships in Istanbul in 94.
94?
Was good. We used to win about second place right behind the Chinese in the early days of women's lifting. But of course, those days are long gone.
So so to be exact, you guys have had 19 national championships as a team on the women's side.
Won 19, yes.
That's a huge number. So I mean, been coaching women's teams for a long time. And Robin, what was her name when she won the world champ? Robin Bird.
And then she was Robin Bird when she won the Worlds, and she's now Robin Goad. She's married to Dean Goad,
Dean Goad was
an
also
international competitor. And they have a daughter who's now lifting.
Yeah, that'll be great to see her develop.
She is very talented, and we hope she's also a first class gymnast.
Really?
And may do gymnastics in college, but she certainly has many years of Olympic weightlifting ahead if she wants to do it.
Yeah, she's already won the juniors she's only 14, right?
Well, no, I think she's about 16 now.
Oh, okay. But did she win the junior national championships this year?
She may well have.
Okay, yeah.
I don't keep up with that so much anymore.
Yeah, she still has another year of school age next year. So.
Yeah.
So how what was weightlifting like? How did it differ when back in the day when there was 3 lifts and?
Well, there are probably a lot more weightlifters nowadays. There probably might have been half a dozen meets in Georgia in a whole year. We'd have to drive to North Carolina and way down in Florida to meets. And, it doesn't differ that much. Just, guys would get together and lift. Of course, there were no women back in those days.
Yeah.
But,
well, now, when did women start lifting?
The first women's nationals was in 1980 in Waterloo, Iowa. And that is probably about the time that the Chinese started messing around with it too.
Yeah, yeah.
So it could be seen that it was a coming sport. Some of the Western European countries started having some women weightlifters.
And now, how did you develop yourself as a women's weightlifting coach? Because you kind of started, you've made a name for yourself as more of a women's coach. You've coached plenty of men, but
yeah, well, I mean, there's really not much difference in coaching men or women. The procedure and the philosophy of training is essentially the same. You just put the weights on and lift them.
now, if you could sum up your philosophy on weightlifting, how would you do that in a short?
Well, I think it's important to always practice the lifts themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs to be at least 50% of the volume. It needs to be snatches and clean and jerks of one kind or another. And of course the rest would be pulls and squats. Some people might do as much as 70 or 75% just lifts. But you certainly do need to do squats.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you do lifts enough, you can just about get by without doing a lot of pulls. But there's there's all dozens of variations of all these exercises, and we come around to a lot of them over the course of a year or two.
Mm-hmm. So do a lot of variations, but at the same time do those variations on the lifts.
Oh yeah,
and then of course get strong. So I guess basically everyone has a very similar view. It's just get stronger, get good technique, and
right.
At the end of the day,
right. and things have to be individualized. One lifter might need to work the jerk more, doing jerks off the jerk blocks and repetition jerks, and one lifter may have a problem with leg strength. So whatever is your relative weakness needs to be worked more.
Absolutely, yeah. Find your weakness and fix it.
Yes.
Now we also got Juan Supelveda on here.
Hey, hello.
Now tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a masters lifter here. How old are you?
I'm 61. I compete on the M60 Masters, 105 kilos.
And you're the champ this year, right?
Yes, I have a pretty good year. I won the Nationals and have a clean and jerk record with 131 kilos. And I also won the American Masters.
Now, how long have you been in this sport?
I was like 14 years, 1967 to 1981. And then I retired for 25 years. That's what Coach John Coffey tells me. That's the reason I'm still strong, because I took a long break. And I survived. I came back after Katrina, and I've been lifting from 2006 to now, 2013.
Now, you're a fun guy to train around. Tell us a little bit about your philosophy.
I believe in getting stronger, and I tell the people I cannot take it any longer if I don't get strong. If I ask the people what they snatch and what they clean and jerk, because if they got a 61-year-old man doing more than you really need to get stronger. Because I snatch 105, and in practice I have snatched 110. And I do a clean and jerk 137, and I have cleaned 145. If I'm 61 and I'm still doing those numbers, and you come to this gym and start telling me that you're strong, I'm going to tell you, you need to get stronger. My philosophy of training is doing everything. I believe in technique, speed, work, and strength. And like Coach John Coffey says, you need to work on your weaknesses. If you're really good in clean and snatch, and you got a poor jerk, you need to work another section on jerks. A lot of people do things that they're good at it, but the lift is clean and jerk. That means you do a lot of cleans and you're pretty good in clean, and you are not that good in jerk. You need to start doing more jerk training. The same thing in snatch. I believe in training on everything: legs, lower back, low back squat, shoulder, triceps, everything. Why take a chance on being weak on any particular muscle? Because when you do the snatch and the clean and jerk, the whole body is working. A muscle is not going to take a break because it's not particular the prime muscle on that particular lift. That's what my coach a long time ago told me. Get stronger on everything. Calf work, ankles, stomach, shoulders, chest, lats, everything. In that way, you got better chance. That's my philosophy of weightlifting. Get stronger, get faster, and technique is important, but if you're not strong enough, the weight is not going to happen. You need to be strong and technique at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that saying. I have to get stronger. I cannot take it any longer. And Juan always says, "No mercy for the weights and like a bullet."
That's right. This sport, as it is not that easy. We don't have a lot of fans over here. A lot of people don't follow you. We don't have no magazines. That means you need to make training fun. And I'm pushing. I'm a pusher for PRs in the gym. We right now are over 800 PRs, all collective, in this gym. And next year we're going to try to strive for 1,000. Now that's 1,000 PRs for everybody in the gym. That's a lot. And I keep count on that. PRs on squat, bench, deadlift, shoulder press, whatever it is. In that way, keep motivating people to get stronger.
In different rep schemes too. So ones, twos, threes, fours.
Oh yes. We keep until to 3. 1 rep max, 2 rep max, and 3 reps, especially on the squats. Everybody's in the program, and I keep track. I'm the record keeper of all the PRs. And we have one guy, Oliver Moreno, who did 95 PRs in this year. And the closest one to him is me. I did 66 PR for the year. But it's a good system that we have.
Yeah, so keeping training interesting, giving yourself, knowing your PRs and a lot of different exercises and rep schemes so that you can see progress through, because at the end of the day, you're going to get to a point where you may not snatch and clean and jerk from the floor PR for a year, so you got to keep it fun. Now you are a master's lifter, and we get a lot of questions about master's weightlifting, and obviously the training might differ a little bit because you said your body can't handle full lifts as often as a young person. So now how do you combat that?
Okay. In the master program, you can train twice a week, 3 times a week, or 4 times a week, depending on your health. I train 4 days a week, but I don't train the full lifts all the time, like full snatch in full squat position or full cleans. Because at 61 years old, if I do that 4 days a week, it's going to take my knees out. That's why in the master program, we do more power lifts, more exercise for strength. And I still do technique once in a while, but it's not, for me, as important as the strength. We need to feel that we're strong enough to handle the weight. We're not as fast as we used to be when we were 20. Now, a youngster can practice full snatch every day, and with repetitions, he can get stronger. But in the master program, we need to get stronger with less repetitions, more exercise for strength. And that's what I believe in, that's what I practice. Imagine if I snatch every day full snatches or full cleans. It takes my, at 61, I'm not the same like what I was at 21.
Yeah, so you got to have more variety. You got to get stronger in a lot of different exercises and give your knees and hips a break a little bit as you get older, and that's awesome. Juan's doing some big numbers at 61 years old, and you said you're going to be chasing the Masters World Record in the clean and jerk this year. Is that right?
Well, if I weight 105.1, I go on the super heavyweights. The super heavyweight record is 135. I have cleaned more than that in training, and I have jerked. My best jerk this year from the racks was 142. And I have jerked 145 from the racks. I think I can do it. I'm working on it. I see myself sometimes, pulling the bar, pushing the bar down until, waiting for the referee to say, hey.
All right, so Edward Baker, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just had a pretty hard day of training today, so just kind of trying to unwind now a little bit.
So me and you had a good training session today. We had Juan and John coaching us a little bit, yelling at us. So what's your philosophy on training? I know you take a different approach. You started out in high school on under Steve Luttrell.
Stan Luttrell. Yeah, he moved to our high school when I was a freshman and introduced us to Olympic lifting. That was a basis for our strength and conditioning program. And from that, I just branched off from football, and just my main focus became on Olympic lifting. I did my first competition and was completely hooked. And we trained a few different ways while I was there. Towards the end of it, we did the so-called Bulgarian style, maxing out on the snatch and clean and jerk and squat pretty often, and that just happened to wreck me. So now the way I train right now is kind of a product of just my knees getting really beat up, and I'm only able to squat about once a week now. But
now you post a lot of great stuff on the Coffee's Gym blog, right? And
yeah, some of the stuff I write is in response to other articles or other posts I find on various forums that I wouldn't say I disagree with them completely, but I think that some things are written as blanket statements, and I'm more or less here to trying to say, there is a slightly different approach you can go about it. Not necessarily that my way is right or their way is right, but just
right. So I think as this is a great example that some people take different approaches, whereas I think definitely, for me, going heavy often, especially in the snatch, is the way that I have to train in order to get better. But that really beat up Edward at a younger age, and so he takes a different approach, and you do a more of a variety of exercises and percentage work in order to stay healthy, which obviously you can't get better if you're not healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot of my training is based on feel. I mean, I may not so much as percentages, but I may have a day where I plan to push it a little more than another designated day where I'm going to take it easy. I think that what really wrecked me early on in my lifting career was going heavy on the clean and jerk and squat. I know you said that you can works for you to go on the heavy on the snatch pretty often, and I've kind of modified and tailored my training to where about every Saturday I'm going for a heavy single on the snatch, not necessarily to my max, but just to get used to pulling a heavy barbell more than anything.
Yeah, kind of what I've seen is I guess if I look back, for the most part, the people who are great snatchers train heavier very often, and people who are great clean and jerkers train the strength lifts very often. So somehow finding that balance to get both, I guess, is what everyone is trying to get to.
Absolutely, and you said the best snatchers, they snatch heavy and often, which is absolutely right. John is a believer in practicing a snatch type movement at least 3 times a week, which doesn't necessarily mean you have to go heavy every single time, but just reinforcing those motor pathways often. I think that's something that's very important, and some people might even overlook, thinking they can get away with doing the movement once, maybe twice a week. But that's just an opinion.
So now you guys are in Atlanta, and it's a huge CrossFit community here. So if you're listening from Atlanta, you guys have $10 drop-ins. Is that right?
That's right.
So it's one of the cheapest places to come in and train, and they've coached 19 national championship teams on the women's side. And so it's a great place to train and a good place to check out and learn a little bit. Now, what's the best thing that you've learned from John?
I would, let me think about that for a second. I would say just letting go of the mantra that I have to train the way that the best lifters in the world train, and just individualizing and tailoring what works for me. If I know a lot of people in this country may believe that you need to squat and squat often, and that may be the best way to go to produce a higher caliber lifter. But But if if it's something that works for you and it's not getting you hurt and you're seeing nice and good results, then who can say otherwise that you're training wrong?
Yeah, it's definitely true. Like, you don't have to train like, your goal is to get better for yourself. The top level weightlifters didn't start out training 12 sessions a week to max, right? They built up to it, and I think that's one of the things that people overlook. I think some people start out and they don't look at what did Naeem Suleimanalu do when he was 12 years old, just starting out. He was a baby in the sport. They look at what he was doing when he was breaking world records, and he built up to that for years,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I equate that to some beginner bodybuilder looking in a old strength, or not strength and health, but a muscle and fitness magazine, and seeing someone like Jay Cutler's bodybuilding routine is his 5-day split, and then trying to follow that, thinking that they're going to look like Jay Cutler if they do that for a few months. People try to submerge themselves into what the master of sport weightlifters are doing in these other countries. The higher tiered lifters, when they're lifting what would maybe be like classification level 2 or classification level 3 weights. And there is a little copy of what Naeem used to do when I think he was about 13 years old. Bud Charnaga sells a little book that includes that routine at the end of it. And it is higher repetitions, mixing it up. You do some barbell complexes, does some drop snatches, snatch balances, pulls off the blocks, lifts off the blocks, just various movements, not the classical snatch, clean and jerk and front squat that you would expect from him. But,
yeah, later on in his career, that's after he developed a certain work capacity and became a certain athlete. That's when he really kicked it into high gear and was really hitting it hard all the time. But at that point, he's a few years, he wasn't doing that his whole career, because like Juan's saying, you can't do that for your entire life. If you want to be a lifter that trains for an extremely long period of time, you have to do more strength work. Now, really quick, what's one of the funniest stories that you've heard from John or Juan, or maybe I'll get Juan on here. Maybe John will say something.
I know Juan. He had mentioned one time that this one lifter at a local meet had gotten mad at him because Juan was standing slightly off to the side from the guy's direct peripheral vision, and right before the guy was about to lift, Juan moved his foot to the side a little bit, and the guy missed the weight and blamed Juan for moving his foot 2 inches for him missing the lift.
Well, he says he lost his angle of pulling, and I said, "You crazy?" He said, "My concentration was on your foot, and when you move it, I lost my angle of concentration, and that's what I missed." I told him, "You crazy? Just." Concentration is, for me, you're in a stage that you believe that you're going to do the lift, and you block everything out. The people who are in front of you, the referees, the live, your coach, you go to a special place of believing that you can do it. That's concentration. If any outside force, stop you from doing the lift, that means your concentration was not at 100%. That's what I believe. Later on, he apologized and says, "Yeah, you're right. I need to concentrate better." I say, "That's right."
So you think, obviously a lot of weightlifting is in your mind. So what's one thing that you would advise people to do to have a strong mind when they're going for PRs or when they're,
I believe you need to get ready for the PR and for the meet. If you have a section of training and your best snatch on your test day is 100 kilos, but your best snatch ever was 110. Some people have the idea they go to the meet and they're trying to do 110. That's not right. Your best for that particular cycle of training was 100 kilos. That's the mind frame you need to go when you go to the meet. I'm going to do 100, tie my best, or maybe a little more. Stop thinking about the 110. And that's a mistake I see in a lot of youngsters. And I try to give them that knowledge that I have. If you are trained when you go to the meet, whatever your training was for that particular time is what you're going to prove in the meet. Don't be thinking about whatever you have done before. And I try to help people with that. Train for your PRs and for your one max rep. And that way you can do it. Don't go blind to a meet and thinking you're going to do like 10 kilos, 15 kilos. Coach John Coffey and me, we believe that 1 kilo is a lot. If you can improve 1 kilo a month, that's 12 kilos a year. That's 24 kilos total. That's a lot. But people come here and says, I want to improve 5 kilos on my snatch in a month, 10 kilos in clean and jerks. You had to practice and train for that. Don't be blind, and 1 kilo is enough.
Yeah, PRs don't just happen. You have to prepare for it. So Juan thinks getting stronger all around, like doing a lot of pulls with the weight, that you want to do, preparing yourself for that weight. So that's great advice. Now, John, do you have any funny stories that you can tell us, or any last advice?
I don't think I have any that we can talk about right now.
Well, there was one I thought was interesting that you told about a little weight and barbell malfunction at one of the Worlds, and you had to call Mutlu over to tell him about it.
We couldn't get a certain brand name of barbell was being used, and I got to the Worlds a few days before the meet started, and I had some lifters training, and we couldn't get the half kilo and 1 kilo plates on the bar hardly. And I went down in the warm-up room and showed it. I can't speak Turkish, and of course he can't speak English.
Yeah.
But I just showed him the weights wouldn't fit on the bar hardly. Mm-hmm. And got in about 20 minutes later. There were all these men in suits and ties in there with their coats off and their sleeves rolled up, with grease up to their elbows, and they were trying to get those plates on the bars. But it worked out. But the plates just those size plates had to just be kind of put right on the end of the bars throughout the whole championships.
That's pretty crazy. So if anybody was going for world records, they had to use these plates that barely fit on there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks, guys, for being on the show, and thanks for letting me train here. And, it's been great. So, Juan, any last-minute things you want to say?
Well, I want to say I want to tell you congratulations on your wonderful, fantastic year you have. You snatched 155 in training. You did 198 clean PR at the American Open. And you have a really good year winning, being the best 85-kilo lifter in the Nationals, and the best USA 85-kilo lifter in the American Open. And you're working pretty hard to get those numbers, and your whole team. And I like what you're doing over there, the muscle driver team. Train together and to lift more and more. And I wish you that you can do 200 next year. And 160, that's what the number I really like for you, okay? Train hard.
Oh, yeah, I'm training hard for that. Now, what are your goals for Edward?
Well, Edwards, I want him to do 150 next year.
130.
150 and 190. He's capable of that. Edward, he got a good mind on training. He likes to train, and John is helping him a lot. That means he will do those numbers. Those numbers, he has to aim high. That's one of my philosophy. Aim high, because if you don't reach the top, at least you're close. He needs to do 150, and I know he will. He just need a little push on that.
Yeah, definitely. So now everybody knows it, and you have these goals. So
it's a lot of pressure, gotta say.
Well, anyways, train with the philosophy that you have to get stronger. You can't take it any longer. And we're out from Coffee's Gym. Thanks for being on the show. And check out, what is your blog, Edward?
It's just on our Coffee's Gym webpage, coffeesgym.org.
So go to coffeesgym.org. Check out the blogs on coffeesgym.org, and also like the Facebook page, Coffee's Gym. Mm-hmm. And thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.